Thank you, everybody, to be present for this workshop. And let's begin with this presentation. My objective here is to try to share with you the scope of the ICT part of the UFO project. And I would like to be sure at the end of the presentation that you have the right perception of what ICT means in the UFO project. So, as we said and as we saw the last workshop, during the last workshop, ultralight flying objects are complex technological systems, and they are integrated in complex telecommunication infrastructure too. So it's due to the necessity of security, especially for this kind of objects, but it's due to the constraint of the environment too, because of the atmospheric constraint and spatial constraint, and it's due to the high level of technology inside this object. We are going to see that the data is now the heart of innovation, or a big art for innovation and a big topic for business. That's what we speak often about new space. By data, I try to define three main parts: what we can do with this data, and what are the final content or product or services we can have with thanks to this data. And by the way, for the usage, we have defined different domain in which we want to apply the use of this data. And we need to understand that we can create new usages, or we can optimize some already existing, or we can try to complete some use case by new functionalities thanks to the creation or the use of new data. The first kind of data we can generate. The second one is more linked to the usage we want to do about the data, and mainly the four kind of data I see is linked to geolocalization. So the data we can receive from in the scope of the Galileo program. So it's more geolocalized data. What is important too is if we want to add value to this core data, we need to sometimes and often, I would say, we need to mix this data with other data coming from other parts, and we have a lot of source of data coming with the development of Internet of Things, and connected objects are producing also data which may compare or use with the data we receive from the ultralight flying objects. The main technology I want to speak about is, of course, artificial intelligence. If artificial intelligence refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think like human and mimic their actions, I think the main thing to keep in mind is that artificial intelligence is now often linked to the questions of learning or problem solving, and you need to understand that artificial intelligence is just a set of algorithms for different applications. So it depends on the data we use for the by this algorithm, but if we want to make the system learn, we can use like expert systems, the machine or deep learning approach or algorithm. If we want to establish a communication between the human and the machine, the NLP, natural language processing, or speech recognition are a topic of artificial intelligence we can use. The second main technology we speak about today is blockchain. Blockchain is a decentralized, distributed, and oftentimes public digital ledger consisting of records called blocks that is used to record transactions across many computers, so that any involved blocks cannot be altered retroactively, actively, without the alteration of subsequent blocks. So this definition is quite difficult to understand, but you have to understand that the blockchain define a new way of collaboration. Is more horizontal for the structure. They have to collaborate in order to and establish trust between the different members, because the system is more horizontal, and you have to decentralize. The third technology I want to speak about is immersive technology, and it's more linked to data visualization, as I said before. Immersive technology aims to put the user in a digital environment with which he is able to interact. So we speak often about the augmented reality, mixed reality, or virtual reality. That's it.
So let's start looking at application in these 6 sectors. So let's start with blue growth. And well, the richness of resources with our seas and ocean is driving growth within the sector across the blue economy, including offshore energy, aquaculture, blue biotechnology. And the management of these resources and the activities to exploit them is demanding new capabilities in maritime monitoring and surveillance. So I move on to the next sector, which is digital creative. These include gaming, culture, media, tourism, marketing, advertising, so many subsectors. And the use of small flying objects in combination with key enabling technologies and ICT offer great opportunity for innovative crossover, boosting the development of new products and services in both digital and creative, but also products and services that can be used in other sectors as well. Let's move to mobility. Well, this is an important sector of the economy, and it's also a sector that is undergoing significant changes brought by social and technological disruption. Also in the context of global challenges, connectivity and autonomy in transport, small flying objects together with ICT and KET play an important role in facilitating zero emission target and also achieving accident-free future. Moving on, new generation of autonomous and connected vehicles, ships, airplanes, needs to communicate with various domains, needs to communicate with different other technology to provide infotainment, telematics, driver assistance, and autonomy. So the financial sector, but also the service sector, like legal, insurance, accountability, are going through radical transformation in the way they manage the information for decision making. Traders, insurance, and asset managers need big amounts of data to take high-risk decisions. A small flying object with ICT can provide additional source of information. For example, the data supplied by Planet to the Cartes lab allow commodity traders to predict continental scale harvest to guide investment decisions. And similarly, many investors are becoming now conscious of ESG financial products, with ESG standing for environmental, social, and governance, with spatial finance becoming a key technology to monitor the compliance of such products. This is an interesting one, which I don't want to skip, is a French-based QuantCube. They use satellite imagery and machine learning algorithm to provide the clients with near real-time economic intelligence. And this is to enhance decision-making and investment workflow. So they use Earth observation time series, which are augmented by real-time nowcasts, which are real-time information on GDP, inflation, consumption, international trade, employment, and trades, investments, and etc. And also they include smart data sentiment indices, which come from the digital exhaust, something like social media, and to provide spatially accurate economic intelligence. Now, global challenges such as climate change and pandemics are cross-sector topics that should be considered in any of the application. And SFO, KET, and ICT play a big role in supporting innovators with potential solution to this problem. Space Intelligence, another Scottish-based startup, that turns satellite data gathered from the Copernicus program into visual intelligence, helping companies to make informed decisions on environmental risk and nature-based solution investment. Now, the attainment of the 2030 UN Sustainable Development Goals is an important milestone, and ICT, SFO have many applications that can contribute to monitor environmental risk and lead to environmental stewardship. I want to just talk about this one, which is not operational, but it is a potential, could be a potential application provided by high altitude pseudo satellites, which can provide, which might apps can provide the greater temporal and spatial resolution data compared to the currently available satellite data or the ground monitoring stations for the collection of air pollution data, PM 2.5, NO2, O3, and etc.
These are the results. So in the background, while Luca was presenting, we managed to transform your entries into word cloud, mostly just for us to get an understanding of what people think when they are thinking of ICT and SFO. So it pretty much shows us that most of the people are actually think of communications, data, sensors, drones, data processing. So the terms that you see more highlighted are basically the most common ones that we received from the 24 entries that we had. This one is actually very important because it can guide our future efforts in this area. So what do you see as the biggest barriers that you see in the way of these applications and technologies? So we're talking here about emerging technologies and how they get to market and how they can actually spread and create those positive impacts. So what are the biggest barriers? Risk management, that is a very good one, actually. I did not consider it. It didn't come to my mind, but it is a very important one that needs to be considered, especially since it is a high-risk environment. Predictive maintenance, again, that is another very good use of AI that we can look into.